The Depth to Delve Deep by Rote Writer. Chapter 64 The Knight Errant. It's during the night of the summer solstice, June 21st, when things begin to go awry with all. After work, Rote attends a gathering atop the Tor, where hundreds of people group together to welcome in the longest day of the year, with bongo drums beating and dervish-like dancing, some drinking wine and smoking grass in and around St. Michael's belfry. Rote finds himself wined and dined on the fruits and fumes found around. That night he becomes legend. The legend of the fall is Rote, the fellow who falls off the Tor. Early on in the evening, while Rote finishes up with work, a welcome wanted woman lure him to the top of the Tor to join in all the festivities. Atop the Tor, Rote is friendly with one and all. But the woman he's with want him to come and sit with them for a bit, so they find a suitable spot to stop and settle in to the solstice. Rote sits down wanting to get back up 5 minutes later. I'll be back in a few minutes. He has to relieve himself. He has no idea where to until the edge of the Tor's top, now in total darkness, draws him. He blindly stumbles to the edge of the abyss to take a peek. He pulls it out, and while taking one step forward to catch his balance, he loses his footing. He flies for a couple of feet before falling. Then he begins rolling, bumping and grinding, slipping and sliding, all the way down to the bottom. He pulls himself up after catching his breath and finishes what he started. He's lucky his little guy crawls back in during the fall. He's at the bottom now, and he's sore as hell. He knows he will not be able to climb back up, so he stumbles home, barely making it back, blind to it all. When his co-workers and others hear about it, he's forever canonized as the cad who catapults off the top of the Tor. Below, where legend has it, the Tor is the gateway to hell where Archangel Michael guards the way. It seems Rote is welcomed in. It seems his plans, like his night atop the Tor now more than a month ago, don't always pass the way he would like them to, but they do, beyond his power to even protest. He does his best to adjust and adapt and accept, but sometimes he reels, reacts, and redresses like on his last night at the inn. It's a busy night. A wedding is taking place in the inn's upstairs reception hall. The pub is crawling with guests. The barman alone behind the bar does his job, as he does always, well, when the deputy manager comes in. He's already had a few too many. He proceeds to have a few more like he does all more often than not, much to the chagrin of Rote. When he comes in off duty, he's off duty, and under no circumstances will he lift a hand. He knows Rote's run out of change more than once that night. He just sits there. Rote knows he's drunk, so anything he does will be done for us. He lets it go. He picks up the bar phone and calls the front desk. There's no one there. Everyone is upstairs, except the wedding party. They're all in the pub where Rote is, ordering drinks by the dozen. He's the only one behind the bar, while the odd deputy manager is definitely deaf, dumb, and blind to all. Rote has no change, nothing. Even his tip jar is empty, though it usually is. The British don't believe in tipping. Rote asks himself, as any bartender might at times like this, is any of this worth me getting all bent out of shape? I'm serving alcohol. It's a drug. It kills more people than all other drugs combined. It's the number one cause of car crashes and domestic abuse. And here I am serving it without change and no one around here to get some. He picks up the bar phone again. No answer. He quickly leaves the bar, leaving lots of unhappy customers clamoring for change. At least their drinks are served. He runs upstairs to where the wedding reception is and sees the manager, the receptionist, and a few other staff members doing nothing. No one is up there but them. They're eating cookies and cake, and they all have a glass of champagne in their hands. I need change. One of the staff members who holds the keys to the office where the change bar says, I'll be down in a minute. Rote runs back down and is soon behind the bar, soothing patrons, saying, I'll have change soon. Soon more people are coming in and more drinks are being ordered. He serves them all, but still Rote has no change. Upstairs he goes again. Change! Okay, I'll come down right now. Rote runs back down the stairs, then slows down with all the people milling in the hallway to the pub. He picks up empty bottles and glasses along the way. Back behind the bar, he sees people who have been waiting for change before and now ordering more drinks. He sees the deputy manager there staring at him. A few minutes later, the staff member summoned behind the bar with some change. It's soon exchanged, leaving Rote once again without change. Rote runs right back up. I need more change. There's no more change. Find some. Rote runs back down and then just stops and shouts, Wedding party, please proceed to the reception hall upstairs. There's wine and champagne poured. One by one, they look at each other and head up the stairs. Soon the hallway clears, as does the pub. The only people left are the regulars and the deputy manager. He wonders who gave Rote the right to call the wedding party upstairs. Rote calls, last call. Luckily, the locals are done. The deputy manager isn't. He orders another pint. Rote's never seen him put money into the cash, only take money out. He's taking all the money out before he even sips his new pint. He can barely stand, but there he is, with an overflowing cash tray. He takes it and his pint into the office. Rote's now alone in a pub that's littered with every single glass and bottle the pub has in place to be served. It takes him well over an hour to clean up the pub, but as usually he does, and he does it well. The lot wearing their titles too tightly must have complained afterwards to the drunken deputy manager, probably due to the wedding party's untimely ascent upstairs. But when the deputy manager comes back down into the pub just as Rote's finishing up, he's flat out fired, no explanation. And when asked, none is given. Rote runs up to the manager and asks her to talk to the deputy manager, her boyfriend. They're both deplorably drunk. She hands him a glass of champagne and then says, "Some of the staff thought you were a bit pushy type." He knows then and there she isn't about to rehire him. With want for some time, the two have tried to find a reason to fire him, and now they think they have one. Rote's shocked by the sudden severance. It feels like his head's been chopped off. And to think of what he put up with. He would have walked out hours ago, leaving it all to them, and still end up in the same situation. He leaves and heads back to the residence. Rote's devastated, heartbroken. Well, he's unhappy at this sudden turn of events. He feels fortunate to have found his way to Avalon, but now he must leave her behind, even a bit blasé about what's beyond France. Back at the residence, he realizes his stay there is now in question. He decides to stay one more night, for a chance to see if it's a drunken decision and not a deliberate one. Rote, weeks before, moves from his first room into a vacant room left when the staff member who wants to have a threesome with him moves out. When it's her room, she and her boyfriend paint it an awful peach. It's still the best room in the residence, and that's why Rote moves in. It has its own bathroom with a bathtub. Rote soaks his sorry self the last night he's there. He knows they want him out. Before he leaves, he does a deluge of laundry downstairs in the basement, beholden with a washer and dryer. The outside doorway to the basement is accessed by a side street. The basement door is beside the odd deputy's manager's door, who lives in the same residence building, just in a different part. He must want to renovate the entire residence for himself and maybe the manager. Rote kind of hopes he runs into him, but that doesn't happen. Rote wakes up Monday morning early to catch the infrequent coach that drives directly to London, much different than the roundabout way he arrives. Still at the residence, Rote gathers his 2 blue bags and thinks, no way, not a chance, no way in martyrdom am I going to lug these things all over France and possibly beyond. Rote rifles through the remnants of refuse left by others in their own wake of departure from the residence. He takes what he thinks is a benign backpack. In his mind it is, though it's still stuffed with clothes. He empties the clothes into one of his own blue bags he's emptied. He loads his other blue bag, still stuffed with clothes he's yet to wear, into the backpack lengthways. All the stuff he empties from his other blue bag he stuffs into the army decal backpack. Back in his room in the residence, he decides to impishly leave the television on a Welsh station. He's never seen Wales, though he leaves wanting to check out all the castles, especially Caernarfon. He knows it's where the investiture of the Prince of Wales, Charles, progenitor to the throne of England, happens, and has since King Edward I, Longshanks, makes it so long ago. And as Rote learns, the Welsh prince Llewellyn the Last, as his name states, is the last true prince of Wales. With Wales never seen or ventured, Rote deliberately leaves the television on, delivering distinctly Welsh programming. He does so to imply he might still be inside. He locks the door, leaving the keys behind in protest to his dismissal. He also leaves all the larger stones and rocks he's collected along his way. The ones he's found in or around the many sacred sites he's seen in UK and Ireland, like crumbs from the castles, cathedrals, cairns, and circles of stones he's kept. He keeps his tiny precious ones tightly contained in his leather pouch. Before locking his door, Rote places his vest on top of an antique armoire. The vest is ironically given to him the day he leaves the first inn work, up by Loch Lomond. It still has his name tag on it. He places all of his items of interest out like a sacred Scottish rite. The puffin skull is prominently placed with white clay chunks and dead wood around it. All the tiny stones he grabs from underneath the sacrificial slab at Stonehenge, he pours from his hand into the basin well of the shell. The shell Rote finds buried in the flower bed just outside Rosslyn Chapel. He says adieu, Avalon, and